So what's going on here? Probably the same thing that's going on at a lot of places in Pennsylvania and New Jersey and maybe elsewhere. We have had 2 weeks straight of rain. You can see I'm approaching the video field just because it is easy to approach. It's beside my house. And I have not picked this yet. And I'm starting to get shatter, bean shatter. That's when the pods just open up and give way. So you start to lose, oh, I don't know, 5 to 10 bushels a week. I've pretty much given up on the concept that I'm going to have a good crop off this little field, and I'm okay with that. Other fields did well. I have not had time to really sit down and edit any of the video footage that I've made of my harvests, just based on the fact that it's been helter-skelter. If I get 2 dry days to rub together, you know, I'm in a combine. I don't have time to edit and worry about running a camera. So I'm behind on videos, and I don't know how many of them I will upload, but I'm uploading this one for sure, because I know everybody's like, oh man, you're doing all this deer hunting. When are you harvesting? Well, I've been harvesting. I don't sit all day in a deer stand. Most of my sits were between 2 and 2.5 hours tops, and they were always in the evening after I was pretty much done doing my work. But you can see a lot of these stalks, they're laid down. They never did stand up properly. And what's going on right now is that I can't get the stalks to dry out because, I mean, they are drying. There is a little bit of a breeze today, but just an hour ago it was a torrential downpour, just like we've had every day of the cotton picking week. So, but let me walk over here and show you what went on with the gas 756, because it threw me for a loop, man. And I don't know if anybody else has had this issue or not, but only by accident did I really fix the situation and the problem. Some of you know that I did put a new alternator on it. I did that, how do you find out if you got a bad alternator video, and I popped that negative cable off there, and booyah, there you go. So I put a new alternator on there, did some new wiring, got the 3M tape on there, but thought I had everything dressed. I changed out the ignition switch. Let's see, I changed the solenoid down there. What was happening, let me tell you what was going on. Okay, so the ignition switch was off, in the off position. Everything was in the off position. When I went to hook this positive cable to the post on the solenoid, it would turn the starter motor. And I was just like, what in the heck is going on? So immediately I thought, oh, I got a bad solenoid. So as cheap as they are, and as easy as they are to replace, I ordered a new one. So I took the old one off, which is right here in all my pile of tools, and took that one off, put this one on. I thought, man, I'm gonna fix this problem with these. Just be a plug and play parts changer. Popped it on there, same thing. I said, so then I shift over to, I gotta have a bad ground somewhere. So I checked this ground here, you know, the negative battery cable, tightened it up about as tight as I could. Traced from here the ground, you can see I had it grounded from here to here, but I looked at the schematics for a 756 and it was showing the pink wire, which this isn't pink, this is a replaced wire that I put on here, but it was showing the pink wire, which is this, to be the ground. So I did that. All right, so then I come back, I'm thinking everything's good. Went to put the cable back on the solenoid, and it popped, sparked, and went to turn the starter motor. So finally I was like, I'll tear this thing apart limb to limb if I have to. Pulled the starter motor off of there, and the Bendix was stuck. It was seized up. Now this is the original starter on this tractor. This tractor is 50 years old. That starter is 50 years old. Did they replace some brushes in there maybe at one point in time? I don't know. I know on a gas tractor the motors take a lot less abuse than they do on a diesel, because generally, you know, even in cold temperatures, you pull the pull the choke, turn the key, press a button, and fire up. Boom. No wear and tear on the starter. So I pulled it out of there, and I was moving the Bendix back and forth, and it was barely moving. Put a little shot of this stuff. I'll show you here. Oh, WD-40 water-resistant silicone lubricant, the Specialist. Put a few shots of that on there, got it working real good. Which I'm glad I took the starter off of there, because it was a lot easier getting the solenoid perfectly in place and whatnot. So, yep, fixed that, moved it back and forth. I said, I'll bet that was my problem the whole time. The Bendix wasn't disengaging, and the spring didn't, in the solenoid didn't have the power to pull it back off the flywheel. So it was telling the starter was basically telling the solenoid we're hot, or however you want to look at it. But it never got on hot, and that was draining my battery too. Which at that point in time I thought, well, I talked to H-Turbo, and he says on his M he had to put a diode in. Well, that makes sense. And on this, actually, if you look at the schematics on the internet, it showed that it does have an inline diode out of the factory. I don't have one on here, but there's the yellow wire that they're showing that the diode goes on to. It's plug and play. I can just pull this out. But anyway, so I left it sit all night last night. I come out, and like my shim job, the battery cover, I kind of ran this over so it was bent, so I had to shim it down. But anyways, I come out this morning after it sat all night connected and everything, and it was turnkey. So I fixed the problem. It was the Bendix, it was the starter, and I only found out by accident because I got so mad and irritated I was going to tear this thing apart limb to limb. So anyways, that's the update as far as harvest videos and where I'm at. We are soaking wet. I mean, we're getting probably, at this point in time, we're getting anywhere from 1 inch to 2 inches a day. We are soaked. The streams are overflow their banks, and I mean, it's bad here. So anyways, thanks for watching. I'll catch you at the next video.